Internships date back as early as the 1700s, once and sometimes called apprenticeships. Owners would pay them with housing, food, and of course, extremely valuable experience to help them perfect their craft. The economy changed hundreds of years later, of course, especially in the 1970s when internships were formally integrated into our society. Olivia B. Waxman, author of Times magazine, explained this well in her article, How Interns Replaced the Entry-Level Job. She talks about how there were more college attendees, more college graduates, less job openings, and of course, more internships. According to Time, number of university offering programs let students split time between internships and classwork increased from 200 in 1970 to 1,000 to 1983. 2000 in 1983. So back then there were actually programs in college to help students balance internships and their coursework. And nowadays you sort of just have to do that on your own and manage your time by yourself. Unpaid internships are popular in several professions such as marketing, entertainment, law, and even healthcare. I was a pre-med student in college. I volunteered, shadowed doctors, interned at a clinic, all while being a student, and it was almost like this rite of passage for me and my peers to participate in all of these experiences to boost your application and make you more competitive. But retention rates dropped with friends who had to pay rent or tuition. So not everybody is lucky enough to participate in unpaid internships. The question is, can I afford to work for free? Can I afford to spend all of this energy? And the return investment isn't always worth it. In an interview with NPR questioning the ethics of unpaid internships, one of the interns expressed, most political science internships are unpaid. As a completely independent student who works full-time during the school year and to make ends meet, I don't have the funds to spend a full semester not being compensated. So she talks about how, in political science there are conventions and networking, because internships are great for networking. It's just that not everybody can participate in them. Steven Greenberg is another author who studied how interns complain that these internships are not educational enough. He interviewed someone, Melissa Reyes, who worked in a prestigious fashion house, but she ended up just running errands such as getting lunch for the team or cleaning closets, and they even had her work from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. I know that for these internships it is what you make of it and you have to be assertive to connect with other people, but I find that kind of difficult when you're in an office space or a closet, cleaning while employees are working on larger projects. Although some internships do lead to job opportunities, not everybody gets hired. And so you're trying your best to get these, but it just ends up becoming a systemic burnout right from the beginning of your career. Now let's talk about exploitation. There's a legal case in 2015, Glatt versus Fox Searchlight Inc., which were the unpaid interns of Black Swan. And eventually both parties settled, but can you imagine internships were here since the 1970s and we're only realizing how exploitative it is in 2015. So there's so much free work that has been done already between that time. Lastly, have you heard of Spotify Wrapped? That is when your friends share on social media the most listened to artists and songs of the year. Well, an intern came up with that. Her impact on Spotify was huge, and she was compensated a little bit for that, but very minuscule compared to Spotify employees. Like, she did a great job, she's very innovative, and she didn't get her paid due. Author Wizzy Kim, who interviewed the intern, and she wrote, the fact that people applying for internships are mostly young people without experience to give them a better sense of their work's value or to negotiate better terms is exactly what deepens the power imbalance of internships. That is why I think unpaid internships should be abolished. I know that there are great qualities about them, but just to recap, not everybody gets to participate in them, not everybody gets hired, and a lot of interns are being exploited for their innovation and creativity. And just because you don't participate in one doesn't mean that you're less qualified of a candidate. It just means that you might not be lucky enough to have those experiences. Thank you for listening.